Hey there, I'm Tony from the Marathon Mates, and welcome to episode 138 of the Flying RuNR Podcast. On tonight's episode, we're going to share with you our top 10 tips for the Tokyo Marathon. Geez, I had to say that really carefully, didn't I? So, for the Tokyo Marathon, from knowing when to get to the expo, where to stay, and what to do, and how to get the most out of Marathon Sunday, we've got you covered. We'll share with you our tips and memories from Tokyo and give you the best advice when it comes to everything from the expo all the way through to the finish line. I have very fond memories of Tokyo 2024, and that's where my wife and I got our 6-star medal. And as you know, we all love running and love sharing our adventures of running around the world. We are the only podcast with 4 7-star world marathon major runners. This is the Flying RuNR Podcast. Are you ready to run? Let's go.
It's the Flying RuNR. Run far, run free. Host the 7 stars, inclusive as can be. It's the Flying RuNR for you and me.
Now, welcome back to the Flying RuNR Podcast. Now, before we get into tonight's episode and work our way through the top 10 tips for the Tokyo Marathon, let me just introduce you to our co-hosts, because you may be noticing there is a change in the panel. Of course, we've always got Lucia, we've got the wonderful Tara, and we've got a very special co-host filling in for someone else who normally comes on the podcast. His name's just slipped my mind at the moment.
I think it's Tim or something like that, isn't it, from memory?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
How quickly we forget. That's it. It's Tim. So you may remember Peter from when she was back on the episode in episode 90 in March last year. For those who don't remember, Peter is also a 7-star major marathon medalist, and she's quite often found pacing at the back of the pack. And she's always got a smile and encouragement. So, Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tony. It's great to be back after nearly a year it's been since I was on. So it's lovely to be here with you all, and literally some big shoes to fill for Tim.
Yeah, literally. But as we've discovered doing this podcast, we've improved segments like Tim's tips when Tara or Lucia have done them. I think they are far superior. So I am absolutely confident, Peter, that you are going to be a superior host to Tim. So, and welcome to the show. So let's get into what we've all been up to. So let's start with our very special co-host. How has your running week been for you, Peter?
Pretty good, guys. We've been subject to some interesting weather patterns recently in southwest Queensland and northern New South Wales. So I'm training at the moment for Hobart Marathon, which is 7 weeks away, followed by Ballarat, which is 9 weeks away. And I was a little bit nervous about the rain on the weekend, but Sunday morning I said to myself, I can't do 20K on the treadmill. I'm just going to go outside. If I get wet, I get wet. And it ended up being a fantastic run. It was under 20 degrees, no humidity. And you know what? I passed another runner on the road, which doesn't happen very often where I live. And he said to me, "Isn't this the most beautiful weather?" And I said, "Yes, it is, actually." So really, really good. Training's on track and looking forward to getting back into marathon season.
Awesome. And you've recently come back from Japan. Were you there for a run or just for, heaven forbid, a holiday?
Heaven forbid it was a holiday. I know that's unusual for me, but I couldn't find an event that was on in the same city the same time. So I was very happy just to go to parkrun, and it was great to be in the cold weather for 2 weeks to get some of my marathon training done. So no big runs this time.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Tara, what about you and Tim? How's your week been?
Yeah, so we've had the same weather as Peter. Absolutely fantastic running weather. I swear to God, we must be the only people in the world as marathoners that actually enjoy the wet, rainy, windy days compared to the hot, humid days. We'll take them any day. Tim and I did 20 Ks on Sunday, just trying to build that base back up. It wasn't fast. It was just a case of just getting that time in the legs. Tim didn't do parkrun this week. He actually had an appointment, but I was able to volunteer at Chermside Parkrun. So it was their 500th event at Chermside Parkrun. So it's always fun volunteering. I love volunteering at Parkrun, and I'll do that anytime I can't run. So it's always fun. And during the week, I've just sort of been taking it easy. I've done a bit of not a quad injury, maybe a quad strain is what I'm trying to think of it as. So as I said, I did 20 Ks on Sunday, so it's not too bad, but it's just been very slow. I'm not doing any speed work at the moment or too much strengthening. I'm just trying to not cause any further injuries. Yeah.
So just for those that aren't watching the episode, we have just lost Peter. And for whatever reason, and can I tell you, even when she's not here, she's doing a better job than Tim. So, all right. So here she is. She's back. So welcome back, Peter. I don't know what happened. So, Lucia, what about you? What was your week? And I hear you've got a couple of updates on things that
Yes.
Lucia's army aren't going to be. Oh, well, I'm supposed they're going to be happy. So.
Well, I actually did a park run on Saturday.
Yay!
Yes. So I did
That might have been
park
because
run.
somebody from London was over to make you do it.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, because it's a central one. It's not my favourite park. Beautiful. It's a beautiful location. Like the views are stunning, but the actual course itself, it can be a bit dangerous because part of it's on a boardwalk, which can be uneven. But I was just there to catch up with friends, and also the good thing I like about Bremer Parkrun is there's a cafe which has donuts, and they cook them on piping hot donuts. So naturally, I got donuts after parkrun, as you do. So I didn't get as much in as I'd wanted to this week. It was just one of those weeks. But as Tony did mention, a couple of updates. I've had to cut my 3 marathons in 3 weeks down to 2 marathons in 2 weeks because I do have a new job. So I thought I should be sensible and maybe not ask them for nearly 6 weeks off in a 2-month period. I thought, let's be a bit sensible. So I've cut Detroit. Well, yes, I've cut Detroit, but I got in touch with the race organisers. I can actually defer it till next year, and I'll just have to pay a deferral fee. So once that window opens, I'll be deferring Detroit. And then the other update, which is one I've been promising for a few weeks, but just didn't happen. So yesterday being Sunday, it was the first Sydney Marathon Run Club for the year, in which they announced the community ambassadors. And I'm very privileged and honoured. I've been asked to come back again as an ambassador for the marathon for 2026. So we've got a great group of people, great group of ambassadors, just to really get the word even further out there about the marathon. If people aren't running it, come support it on the day or even volunteer, because the race can't be done without the volunteers, and just also to get the message across further across our various communities about how inclusive running is and how it brings the community together. So needless to say, I'm very chuffed, very honoured. It's a privilege to be asked again to be an ambassador. So unfortunately, to our listeners and to the people watching, you are going to see my face a bit more because we had to do a video shoot. We had to do a photo shoot. The first part of the video shoot, we had to introduce ourselves. Out of the 10 of us that were there, I'm the only one that stuffed up the take. I stuffed up the first time. I'm like, has to be one in the group. So exciting times ahead. So to our listeners, if you've got any questions about Sydney Marathon, send them through. If I don't know the answers, I'll get them. But I did have some interesting feedback about our Super Half series. This person loved it, and she's an avid listener. I don't want to mention her name because she'll kill me if I do. She goes, I can't believe you guys mentioned Cardiff. Of all ones, you mentioned Cardiff. She thinks we should put Barcelona up because she goes, Barcelona is meant to be a good one. So I want to put a challenge out to our listeners. Can any of our listeners come up with their own version of the super halves? You can take out any ones that are currently in there and put in ones in which you want to. So it'd be really interesting if any of our listeners, if you want to submit them via the socials or the email, and we'll share those on upcoming episodes. So that's me. Tony,
wow.
what about you?
You've just galvanized Lucia's army. We have got a flood of feedback coming through now, without a doubt. So, yeah, more of the same for me. Still I'm not running. I got my MRI details or results on Friday. I have what is known as a horizontal undersurface tear of the medial meniscal body in my knee, which is more commonly known as a horizontal tear. Hopefully I see my physio on Tuesday. Hopefully he can give me some words of encouragement or some things that I can do. I really am just waiting to see him to give me the okay to at least start doing something or some exercises to start building up. I really have been erring on the side of caution, just not doing anything. The funny thing, as I said last week, the diet's back in check. So I have been losing weight. So now I just need to get some activity to really start helping me lose some more weight. So we got some feedback through again from one of our favorite listeners over in the UK. Mark has been very detailed in his feedback, and we certainly do appreciate some of your thoughts there, Mark. We really do get a big kick out of doing this podcast, and I'm glad you're listening for the very reasons that we do this for. And the other thing that I just want to update before we start to move into the real podcast stuff is Pace and Glory. Your Pace and Glory released 3 new songs just today. We're filming this or recording this on the Monday. There is a Fighting Ghosts on the Tokyo Dream, which is all about the Tokyo cutoffs. The Deer Lottery, which is an ode to the London Marathon ballot. And the last song is called BQ or Bust. So it's about those people striving for their BQ qualifying time. So those 3 songs are now available on all streaming platforms, bar Apple Music. So it was, unfortunately, Apple have got some new guidelines around their platform, and unfortunately my songs the new songs that I put out no longer fit. But if you are an Apple Music fan, if you head to our website, click on the Your Pace and Glory link on the front of the page and scroll down to the bottom of the Your Pace and Glory page. There's actually the songs there for free download, and you can add them to your Apple Music yourself. So there's another little bonus for you. So Your Pace and Glory, get onto it. It's really cool. Hey, we've got a new segment. So I told you how Tim's tip has got a bit boring and Tim's news segment's got a bit boring. So we're switching it all around today, but we do actually have something brand new, and this is called Tara's Trivia. Each week, Tara's going to jump in and give us some trivia about a race, a famous runner, a running product, basically anything to do. It could be anything to do with running. So it's our job to try and work out the answer before the show ends. So Tara, let's kick it off. What do you have for your very first week of Tara's Trivia, which means I've got to do another song?
Sorry, Tony.
Doing that.
We need an intro. Okay.
Sorry, Tony. Yet another song for you to make up. So with my trivia, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually give you 3 hints throughout the podcast, and this will be regular. And each hint will just give you a little bit more. So hopefully you might be able to get on the first hint, maybe the second, and if not the third, I'm quite sure by the third you'll definitely get it. So my new... Can I just
put a disclosure out there for our listeners? Tara doesn't tell us the answer. We honestly have to guess this. We have got no idea she's keeping it secret from us. So if you see us shocked, it's genuinely shocked. We're not doing a fake shock.
Yes,
and
but nobody
Correct.
knows the answers to my trivia. So
and even if it was in the run sheet, we don't read it before the show anyway. So we
sorry, Tim. Oh, excellent. So for my very first bit of my trivia, all right, so let me just go to my... All right, and so my first bit of my trivia is I have been a guest on the podcast before, and I am loved by many runners and non-runners.
Could be me.
Could be.
I'm going to go.
Could be me.
It could be you.
I'm going to go Murray Ma from Travelling Fear.
Oh, yeah. I love her.
All right, awesome. So we're going to have 3 stabs at that during the course of the show. And if you have guessed it already, wherever you are, you're going to have to wait to see if you got it right anyway. So, all right, the second bit of news is that we're going to share around Tim's tip. As we've all heard, we're pretty bored with it. So we're all sorry. We're just changing it up a little bit, Tim. That's what you've got on the run sheet. And we're all going to provide our tips pretty much on a rotating basis. So over the next few weeks, you should hear from each and every one of us as we give our weekly tips. So that's a pretty long intro so far. So Lucia, you know it's that time of the week where we talk about the news. Lucia, what's been happening around the world of running this week?
Well, just before I start, I just want to say, like, Tim's done the run sheet as he does, bless him. I just rock up each week to record, but I don't have the name. He hasn't put anything with weird names in it for me this week, Tony. So I'm just saying, just putting it out there.
But it's almost like a scientific paper on climate change, Lucia. So
and we know I'm not going to read it all. Let's face it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Summarize.
Yeah, exactly. So the first bit of news is climate changing also impacting marathon times. So in 2025, a lot of the majors were impacted by extreme weather conditions, whether that be heat, humidity, dangerous winds, or even cold. So a recent report by Climate Central Research shows the chances of ideal marathon temps are dropping globally due to climate change. Now, ideal temps can vary for each person, so this is just a generic one. So the study analysed 221 races and projected temperature stability for 2025, 2035, and 2045. If we're still running marathons in 2045, absolute kudos to us. Tokyo Marathon currently has the best odds of ideal temps, but also the largest projected decline by 2045. So they're saying ideal racing temperatures can vary quite significantly. For the elite men, it's 4 degrees. For the elite women, it's 10 degrees. And for the recreational runners, it's 6 to 7 degrees, which you think the elite men and women would be very similar in their ranges, but apparently not. When temps rise above these thresholds, performance can drop and the health risks can also increase. As an example, so Cape Town Marathon cancelled its 2025 event due to extreme winds, and they've actually changed the date. But the change in the date of Cape Town wasn't as a result of them cancelling 2025. So it's now going to be in May, which is winter. So hopefully that should be different weather conditions. Elite women often have the best chance of hitting optimal temperatures, including London, Sydney, and Cape Town. And what we're also seeing is that some races are also adjusting their start times and adding cooling measures, all depending on the temperature as well. So I think we'll start seeing more races with people handing out sponges, misting areas which people can run through just to help bring the body temperature down. So chances of ideal running temperatures for recreational runners. So if we have a look at 2025, Tokyo for men it was 79%, women 81. Boston 73, 75, so pretty on par. London again on par, 40, 42 and 45. Sydney, because Sydney was because 25, as we know, was the first year as a major, they don't have a gauge on that one yet. Berlin for the men 4%, for the women 5. Chicago 23, 25. And New York 30 and 33. While it's interesting to read, I'm not sure. I can't blame climate change for slowing me down. I think it's other reasons, like maybe too many donuts pre-race or something like that. And what do you guys think about that?
I think there's nothing more certain than this year we'll have ideal temperatures for each of the marathons, because once it's published, it's out there, and then it always tends to be slightly different to what's being published. So I'd be backing the fact that if you're running a major this year, you are going to have ideal temperatures. That's just the luck of the draw.
Oh, I should have been running Boston this year then, because I tell you what, the year we ran it, Peter, it was awful, wasn't it? And Lucia.
It wasn't just that it was 25 and warm, but we didn't factor in starting at 11:30 in the morning. So if anyone's doing Boston this year, that would be a hot tip to do some of your long runs at your start time. If you don't know what it is yet and you're like us, going with a tour operator, then probably 11:30 is your best bet. I'd just like to point out for Tokyo, the percentages are pretty high there, but we must remember last year they had a freakishly warm day. It was 25 degrees. And then this year, it was snowing in Tokyo last week. Did you guys see that? Like a lot of the major attractions were under snow. So if you are running Tokyo this year, I've been watching the forecast obsessively for you, and I can tell you it's changed in the last 3 days, 3 times. But it's looking at the moment like 5 to 10 degrees, which would be lovely.
That'd be perfect.
Which would be perfect. And I still remember doing London in 2022, and there were tips that it was going to be wet and cold on the day. So everyone... Hot. And it was a hot day. Everyone threw on an extra layer or a rain jacket, and then it was just a hot day. So, yeah, it's cold weather and it changes. So,
and I've just got one more piece of news, very exciting overnight. So yesterday in Barcelona, it was the half marathon. We have a new Australian men's record holder. So Jack Rayner, he broke the Australian half marathon record in a time of 59:51, which the record was previously owned by his good mate Brent Robinson, which was set back in 2020 of 59:71. Jack's previous PB was 1 hour, 1 minute and 1 second, and Jack placed 6th overall. So that was a fantastic result. So hopefully we'll see more from Jack in that space. And that's the news for this week, guys.
I thought that it was awesome waking up to that news this morning about Jack Rayner. I think everyone loves Jack Rayner in Australian running, and it was just such a positive to see him do well. So, well done,
but then,
Jack.
one thing I've got to add for that. A friend of mine also said if Jack had cut his hair, maybe he could have gotten a few seconds quicker. So, Jack, we are the experts. Cut your hair, and that time probably would have been maybe like 59:49 or something like that.
It's not swimming.
He wouldn't be Jack Rayner without the hair. Come on now. So.
And the mo.
And the mo.
So before we get into yeah, we all know it's the old porn star Mo, isn't it? Yeah, as I said, we all love Jack. So it's time now for the next piece of Tara's trivia.
Excellent. So my next clue that I'm going to give you is I don't run the marathon distance anymore, but have run at many of the majors, including Boston and New York. Any clues there, guys? Don't say it if you know. Keep it till the
I'm-
end for your...
I think my initial guess was Robert Wang, and I'm pretty sure that he's still running marathons. So I've just been blown out of the park, but
Yeah.
I've now got my second guess up here, which
And
I
Murray
think
Ma still runs the marathon
I
distance.
was going to say, so, okay. I'm going to have to wait for tip 3 now.
Okay.
Alrighty, let's get into our tips for Tokyo Marathon weekend, which is on next weekend. And you should be, if you are going to Tokyo, you should be listening to Fighting Ghosts on the Tokyo Dream, now available on Spotify especially. Our longer term listeners already know that we've covered and recorded a couple of episodes on the Tokyo Marathon previously. We've got episodes 35, 37, 86, and we did one of our most popular out and back episodes where we talked about how to prepare for the Tokyo Marathon strict cutoffs, which aren't as strict anymore. So tonight we thought we'd take all of our knowledge and information gained from actually having run the event and provide each of us will provide you our top 10 tips. To do this, I've asked Tim's asked us to come up with their top tips for Tokyo with the intent that we will share these and discuss them and then maybe narrow it down to maybe a top 10, time depending, of course. Let's kick off with, firstly, we've got Tara, who is going to share both the compilation album of Tim and Tara's top 10 tips.
Excellent. Yes, I get Team Alice tonight. So our Team Alice tips are: get to the expo early. Don't leave it to the second or third day. And that's from personal experience from all of us. Merchandise sells out very fast. Use public transport to get around. It's cheap and efficient. It's not hard to use. Don't be worried if you don't know Japanese. Tokyo is easy to get around. A lot of people in Tokyo themselves actually speak English. So don't be alarmed about going to a country that doesn't speak English as their first language. And even if they don't speak English, they're very easy to communicate with still. Everyone sort of gets what's going on. Arrive at your starting corral early. So as you go through into your starting corral, there is actually like what's airport security that you have to go through the security gates, and bring something to sit on while you're sitting around in the corral. So if that's, obviously with Tokyo, you cannot dispose of anything. So perhaps if it's something that you can tie around your waist if you want to, or if you're happy to sit on the ground, that's fine. But don't take plastic bags that you're going to just discard there, because that will give you an instant disqualification. Tokyo people will really, the marathon organisers will get down on you really quickly for that one. Don't take water at the very first table. So what I mean by that is when you're running through the water stations, on your bib it will actually say what water station you should be at. So it'll say 1 to 9, I think it is, and that indicates which water station you should be on. So if your water station says, if your bib says 8, go to table 8, because that's how they ration their water. And also then the first water station isn't actually getting inundated with so many people that they can't keep up. So that's the idea of that whole thing there. They do have Pocari Sweat on course, so I highly recommend trying that before you depart. As the old saying goes, nothing new on race day. Pocari Sweat actually is quite nice. It's like a grapefruit lemony flavour. I handled it quite well, and everyone knows how sensitive my stomach is when it comes to anything new. Pocari Sweat tastes nice. It's good hot or cold, doesn't matter. I think the temperatures, as Peter was saying, is going to be quite cool, so you're probably going to get it in a cool way. But yeah, definitely highly recommend Pocari Sweat. Don't let the cutoff times get in your head too much, because it's going to ruin your race day experience. Just focus on what you can focus on for that day. Obviously, Lucia is very, very good at knowing where she should be and what she should do. She actually had a little laminated card with her on that day and was looking, okay, cool, I'm at 7:26 or whatever it is, and I have to be at the next cutoff before 8 o'clock. I've got 34 minutes to go. So maybe do yourself up a little card like that, like Lucia did.
And that was a massive help.
It did help you a lot.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And courtesy of Tim as well, because Tim actually typed out all the checkpoints and what time I had to be at each checkpoint. And I literally had that in my hand pretty much the whole race.
Yep. And if that's what it needs to help you get through, that's great. Or you could have a pace band, write it on your hand with Nico, whatever you need to do. So the crowds are quiet. There's not a lot of noise on course. The only noise that I actually found was a group of maybe 10 Japanese people that were cheering us on with some loud little banging things that they could put together, like those blow-up bang things. But apart from that, there was no noise on course. So take some music with you, but you don't actually need the noise in the crowds to get you going. They still will cheer you on. They just stand by the sideway clapping you and bowing to you. So very respectful people. My other tip is don't be scared of the Japanese food. You can get every Western food, so don't be afraid that you're going to go to a new country and you're like, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. The food is amazing. Go and get yourself a ramen, and if you don't like spicy food, they will do it without the spice. So don't be scared to try something new. And if you're too scared to eat it before race day, definitely try it afterwards, because it's an amazing food culture that they've got over there. With Tokyo, it is a point-to-point, so it doesn't matter where your accommodation is in Tokyo. As long as you stay near a train line, you can get to the start or the finish easy. Well, you can't get to the finish easy because you've got to run it, but you can get back to your hotel from the finish easy. So don't stress about where you're staying so much. We stayed at the start line, fantastic. But if you stay at the finish line, that's fantastic. If you stay halfway through, it doesn't matter where you stay in Tokyo. You're going to get to where you need to be nice and easily with the trains, or the public transport, but trains are the best way to do it. And the Japanese people are extremely friendly. They are polite, they're friendly, and they will go out of their way to help you. So if you get lost on the street, just ask them, oh, look, which way is it to Shinjuku Station, or which way is it to such and such? They are more than happy to help. And my last one is YouTube. YouTube is your best friend when it comes to Tokyo. So if you are concerned about going in through Shinjuku Station, for example, it is over 200 exits to that train station. Google where you need to be from which platform. Say, for example, you're at KO Plaza Hotel, you need to go through the west exit. Just Google it on YouTube and it will show you directions, because there is somebody who has done that exit before, and they will show you on YouTube. And then you can you know exactly where you're going. You're not scared of where you are. So they are my tips.
Awesome. Very detailed and hardly necessary for any of us other three to add ours. Very comprehensive. Sorry. No. But so there will be some double up, no doubt, as we start to go through. But that was very, very comprehensive. I particularly like the one, because I always forget this when I ran Tokyo myself, about taking water at the first table and waiting till the end. That's such a great tip, Tara, because that was something I'd forgot. But I have seen in the Tokyo book this year that the organisers, I won't say they're guaranteeing that, because last year there was some hiccups with the water supply because of the unseasonably warm day, but they are saying that they believe they've resolved that. So that's an interesting one. Let's go to our special guest co-host in Pieta. What would you say are your top 10 tips for Tokyo?
Okay. Well, in no particular order, but the first one's pretty important, and that is merch. And Tokyo is pretty renowned for scarcity with the merch. But I just wanted to give the runners some tips. If you've got something you've got your eye on, there are some options for you. So you can pre-order online, see if your hotel or your Airbnb will accept a delivery, and buy it online. You can also get to an ASIC store, and there's several of them in Tokyo, before the expo opens, and the stores will have that merch in stock. And very important tip, bear in mind the expo is 2 levels. You know, we spent so much time on the top level queuing up to buy merch, getting our registration done, that we didn't realize there was a whole nother floor below, and that had official Tokyo Marathon merch. All the other vendors that were non-ASICs were there, so you could still pick up some pretty cool stuff downstairs. So allow yourself time to do both floors. And a hot tip for Tokyo is tax-free shopping is still a thing. If you spend more than 5,000 yen, which is about 50 Aussie dollars, it's tax-free. And if you have your passport with you, you get that refund on the spot at the moment. Now, we've sort of briefly mentioned the participant guide. It's really important that you read that cover to cover, because all the rules, cut-offs are covered in there. I believe some of them have changed this year, so check out the guide, and you can cut out that little table and maybe like Lucia did, laminate it, have it in your pocket, but it's got all the distances and what times the cut-offs are. And if you can, while you can't change the corral you're in, you can walk to the front of it. So that's a hot tip to sort of, there's always room to walk down the side, try and start at the front if you're in K or L, and that will buy you some time for those cutoffs. They have relaxed a little bit with the rules about what you can take into the start area. So you can, or they always let you take in food. So you can take a nice little breakfast picnic from a konbini and have that while you're waiting. You can also buy the foil pouches. They're little 250 ml. They look like baby food pouches, but you can buy them in any drugstore, any konbini, and they're like energy drinks. You can take those in. You can also buy water in those foil pouches or Pocari Sweat, but they will have drinks in there for you in that starting area. This year they're letting you bring in empty hydration bladders and also soft flasks. So if you're worried about hydration on the course, you're nervous about them, you can take in empty hydration vessels. And also, I believe they're giving every participant a reusable cup this year, which will make a pretty cool souvenir too. There are some unusual food offerings at the aid station. So I don't remember trying any of this, guys. I think by the time I got there, it had all been taken, but you can get things like dried sweet potato, banana lollies, real bananas, rice crackers and jelly pouches. So it's up to you whether you want to take the gamble and give it a go, but I have heard some of those snacks are delicious. I did mention the temperature before. It will be cold at the start, so I'd say you must have a throwaway top with you that's, you know, in good enough condition to donate. Stay warm while you're waiting. You don't want to be, you know, cold, wet and miserable. So take a top, and just as you walk down to the start line in your corrals, you'll see that there's clothing collection boxes. So you can just pop that top in there before you go. With Tokyo, it is very strict on the rules. Things like littering, not tolerated, don't do it. You're risking instant disqualification. Ditto with public urination. You know, anything like we saw at Berlin and even Sydney last year where the streets became toilets. Absolutely not in Tokyo. Don't even think about it. Moving on to carb loading tips. Japan is carb loading heaven, everybody. So not only do you have all the wonderful convenience stores where you can get all types of Japanese bakery items individually wrapped, you can also get amazing sushi, rice balls, sweet potato snacks, juices. They're full of energy drinks. They've all got Pocari Sweat. And I also highly recommend their post-hydration drink, which is called Aquarius. It's in every vending machine and every konbini in Japan. It's delicious. I always bring back sachets of the powder with me because I love it. You can also find Japanese bakeries everywhere. Really, really nice if you're missing your bread or would just love a little sweet bun, or the delicious pancakes they have, the little pikelets called dorayaki, which are filled with sweet red bean and cream. My personal favourite is in every convenie you can find mini pikelets filled with margarine and maple syrup. Like, they're like little soft pillows. They're so bad for you, but they are delicious. There's also lots of local chain restaurants you can go to, like Yoshinoya or Sukiya, that offer unlimited rice servings. So you can really go to town on the carb loading. It's very easy. And the supermarkets are just fun to go to as well. Tara mentions navigating around the city. Google Maps works really well in Japan. It will give you directions, where to go, which station is your closest, which train line to get on, and also which exit to take from those stations. They're usually all numbered, and the signs and the announcements on the trains are all in English, and it will even show you where the nearest escalator is or where to get the lift. It's really well set up for travellers. And if you have an eSIM on your phone, that will also help you navigate around. Now, after the big event, there's lots of fun things you can do in Tokyo. So I just wanted to list some of my favourite attractions. We all know of Shibuya Sky and the Skytree building, which can be hard to get into when there's a big event on. They're also expensive. But if you're staying in Shinjuku, there is the Tokyo Metropolitan, to places like Yoyogi Park. See the cherry blossoms, do your medal picks there. Places like Asakusa with the amazing street food. You're going to actually run past that and you'll get some great views of the Asahi building. There's also a beautiful temple there called Sensoji, which is open 24 hours a day. Meiji Shrine is another one. And the Shibuya Scramble Crossing is lots of fun too. So they're all free. There's heaps of great things to do in Tokyo. So my next lot of tips are going to come from Lucia. So I'd love to know what you enjoyed in Tokyo as well.
Well, as we know, I like to do things a little bit differently. Well, not too much. Now, I've seen online that one of the convenience stores, Family Mart, they're selling Tokyo merchandise. So, which if you're watching on YouTube, Peter's actually holding a pair of the socks she got from Family Mart because one of my friends, Lisa, who's also a Sydney Marathon ambassador, she's doing Tokyo this year, and she got a friend's mum to go to Family Mart for her to get her the socks. So don't just rely on ASICS stores and the expo. Have a look at other convenience stores. Do a park run on the Saturday because the locals love it when the internationals take over. So I did it with Tara and Tim in 23. The week before, the park run we went to had, I think it was maybe about 20 or 30. It was very low numbers. And then the day before the marathon, it was like 100 or 200 people. But when all the internationals turned up, they were so chuffed. They were so excited. So do something different. And as Peter said, don't throw the rubbish, like on race day, don't throw rubbish on the streets. You've got volunteers spaced about every 15 metres or so holding bags. Please be conscious and respect their rules and their culture. Throw the rubbish in the bags. And as the others have mentioned, don't take drinks from the first table during the race. Have patience at the expo. That's going to be, because I remember Tara, Tim and I, we waited, it was close to 3 hours, wasn't it, I think, for the ASICS merch. So it's have patience, bring snacks. and as Peter's mentioned as well, the convenience stores are so great for food. One of my favourite things, which people thought was weird, was a sandwich of strawberries and cream. Don't knock it until you try it. So if you're going to Tokyo, have one. And please take a picture and send it in to us. As others have mentioned, Google Translate comes in very handy. And also during the race, the first 5 to 10 Ks can be very crowded. So just be careful until you start getting that separation. And prepare for the weather. It can get cold, as Peter has mentioned. Something to do post-race. We all know I'm a big Disney fan. If you only have one day, Tokyo has 2 parks. It's got Disneyland and Disney Sea. Do Disney Sea. It's the most unique Disney park there is in the world. So if you only have a chance to do one, go to Disney Sea. Hot tip, you can buy beer at 10 o'clock in the morning because that's what Tim, Tara and I did the day that we went. So they're my tips. I'm going to hand it over to Tony now for his tips.
Awesome. But before I do, let's just quickly talk about the cutoffs because they have changed and I hadn't really taken too much attention to them. But looking at them, I think there could be a real concern for back of the pack runners. So fundamentally, what's happened, the 4.9K is still the same. You've got to hit that mark at 10:25 in the morning. Now, the previous cutoff was 11.1, which you had to get to at 10 past 11. They've now reduced that to 9.2K. You've got to be there at 10 past 11. So that's giving you, like, it's almost a 2 kilometer advantage, I guess, early in the piece. Because that 11.1 cutoff was always one that a lot of people stressed about.
It was very border,
Yeah, it was borderline. You had to really go hard early to make it. But the challenge from then on, right? So 15.4, you've got an extra 5 minutes based on the cutoffs I'm seeing here. So it used to be 11:50, it's now 11:55. You've got to be there by. The 20.9, which is fundamentally the halfway mark, it used to be 12:25, it's now 12:45. So you've got an extra 20 minutes there, right? So if I would imagine based on that, it's going to be likely that most of our people, I mean, that's a 3-hour half marathon at this stage, right? But the back ones haven't changed. They're all still the same as what they were, right? So, and I guess this is where the danger is. So at 29.2 kilometers, you've got to be there by 2 o'clock. Sorry, 24.7, you've got to be there at 20 past 1. 29.2, you've got to be there at 2 o'clock. The 33.5, you've got to be there by 14:35. And the 38.5 is 3:15. And then, of course, the finish line, as long as you can hit that 38.5, is 10 minutes past 4. So that 38.5 has got, the one I was always most worried about was the 33.5, because if you only just scrape into that 29, you've got a pretty quick 4K in front of you to get the next cutoff. So while I think it's awesome that there's a little bit less stress early, you cannot afford to think that you've got there, right? Because that 38.5 at 3:15 is going to stumble some people, unfortunately. So, but kudos to Tokyo for having a look at their cutoffs, because they were seriously challenging for a lot of runners. So, my tips for the top 10. Once again, I'm just going to echo Lucia. Tokyo is seriously crowded. It is the most crowded race I've ever run. You've got to be patient. You've got to, don't weave excessively, don't be aggressive, just go with the flow. It's the race where Sharon, my wife, has run the longest non-stop at the beginning of a race, right? So because you just go with the flow, otherwise you are just going to cause pile-up. So you're not going to win the race in the first 5K, but you can certainly lose a lot of energy if you're fighting the crowds. You've really got to go with the crowds. The day before the marathon, they do the friendship run. Now, a lot of people, I enjoyed it because it was really quite informal. It was just a bit of a run round. There was a chance to be exposed to some Japanese culture. So it's relaxed, it's joyful, it's very community. So I really enjoyed the friendship run. So if it's on your agenda, just enjoy it. It's a little bit of a hike to get there. I think you get off at Asasuka, or however Peter said that word, station, and that's it. It's a little bit of a walk. So, but just enjoy it. We've talked about the crowd. What I found with the crowd was very similar, but if you actually looked at them and smiled and waved, you'd get a bit of a cheer back, and a very polite cheer back, but you got one. So please make eye contact and let the energy flow to them, because they will actually return it. So don't stress on the cutoffs. Have your plan. Hopefully you've trained for them, so it's not a major impact on the day. Just laminating a card with the cutoff times, if you haven't trained for it, it's pretty pointless in my eyes. So make sure you're prepared, you're ready, and you've trained for it. But yeah, I agree. If you've done that, have the card there so you know what you've got to do. You've heard the arrive early at the crowds. I would say the same thing. Talk to people that have done the crowds before, because people can give you little tips on how you can get to the front of the corral. I know Peter talked about that. There's gate spaces on either side. My advice would be to look for a toilet block that's in between two corrals, because you never know which side you may come out. So I'm not telling you to move into a corral. I'm just saying keep your eyes open. Respect the culture is absolutely relevant. It's Tokyo's impeccably clean, incredibly respectful, queue properly. It's you in Tokyo, you definitely stand on the left-hand side of any escalator that you're going up or down. But yeah, it's really respect. One thing that hasn't been mentioned, be mindful of master your toilet strategy, right? So when I was training for Tokyo, I was actually training with a full bladder, and I tried to make sure I could run on a full bladder for 10K, right? Because I was worried about that first cutoff, because you hear all these stories about the toilets at Tokyo, and it may not necessarily be on the race line. It may be 200 meters off the race line. It may be in a train station. It may be elsewhere. So be prepared and master your toilet strategy. Understand what it is that you've got to do, and when you're going to do it. So there's no other words I can put there. It's always a long day when you're running a marathon, so make sure you've nothing new on race day. You've got your fueling strategy right down pack. Enjoy the landmarks. You are going to run past some pretty amazing places, temples, you name it. It's just enjoy that, take it in. Skyscrapers, historic districts. Don't run with your head down. It's just make sure you're looking around the place, because it's pretty cool. Probably just the final tip before I just go on to two little fun ones. Just understand why you're there. Just keep referring back to the why. There will be things that go wrong during the race, whether it's the crowds at the front or it's an unexpected toilet break. Just remember why you're doing it and why you're there. So, and remember, no public urination, right? So that's why the toilet strategy is so clear. Just last two final tips: know where to go at the finish line. So once you've gone through the finish line, they normally split at the finish line. There's two ways you can go. And especially if you are getting your 6-star, understand definitely which way you are going. And if you are getting your 6-star at Tokyo, congratulations and enjoy. And just the last thing, there is an official evening event that's put on by the Tokyo Marathon Foundation, which is wonderful. But my advice is don't go, right? So enjoy the race with your friends and your running community. And my advice is don't go, because by the time we got there from the buses leaving, which left on time, we got caught in traffic. We were about 2 hours in by the time we got there, and it was pretty much all over and done with. So it was a very disappointing way to end our marathon day. So that's my top 10 tips. Now, do we really want to try and map it out? Because I know that we're running almost well over at the moment. So some of those,
I think we're all consistent.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Luch, what would you say are some of the consistent things that we talked about?
I would say respect the culture, bring something warm, patience at the expo. Don't go out too hard too soon because it's going to be crowded. Make sure you train to start later, and that I think the toilet strategy is a good one.
Anything for you that Luch missed, Peter?
No, I'd just say we did touch on, a lot of people do speak English, but like going anywhere overseas, it really is good to learn a few words of the local language. A little arigato gozaimasu goes a long way. So if you can learn a few Japanese expressions, that will only help you. And like the others have said, a lot of the time in Tokyo and in Japan as a whole, it's about reading the room. You'll notice when you're on the trains that people aren't talking loudly, they're not on their phones, they're not eating or drinking. Just have a look around, see what the Japanese people are doing, and you just follow suit and you'll be fine.
It also goes well in karaoke bars. Tara?
Yeah, following on from Peter, it's a case also on escalators and stuff like that. Stick to your left if you're going to stand on the escalator, because everyone stands to the left. If you want to walk up, they'll walk up on the right-hand side beside you. As Peter was saying, it is a very quiet place. You don't speak loudly on the streets, on public transport. It is not a Yahoo type of place. Be aware of your litter. There is no rubbish bins anywhere that you will find on the streets. So my tip was I took a little plastic bag. So I just brought the home brand freezer bags, always had them in my purse or my pocket, and then I put my rubbish in there, and then you take it back with you to your hotel or wherever you can find a rubbish bin. So please do not litter. It is definitely a no-no. But yeah, look, as we've gone over most of the tips that I'm going to say for Tara's tips, so we'll skip that one altogether because we are running out of time. But find yourself a Raikin. Don't be scared of the train station. Go for a day trip to Fujisan. Go to Team Labs and, yeah, go down the back streets. Don't be scared to go down the back streets and explore. It's a very safe place to go to. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Tara. And we will not be missing Tara's tips because I am so looking forward to having a much superior tip coming through. So,
I tried.
But Tara, guys, that's been a lot of fun. We've developed or given so many tips tonight. So hopefully our listeners can match that to make their own top 10. So, and if we've missed anything, just let us know through any sort of our social media or any of our channels. Just let us know. Did we miss anything, or what would you advise? So for those who are getting to Tokyo, and one of the good things about being in running communities is you never seem to miss a major because you've always got a friend somewhere that's running. So we just want to wish everyone the very best of luck and to get some really nice weather over there, but to run a really good race. And a special shout out to Reese, Saminda, Jen Kellett, and
Malcolm's running her very first marathon. Yep.
Absolutely. So enjoy, have fun, but it's going to be an awesome race. Tara, it's time for your tips. Let's do them before we finish with the trivia. So let's do Tara's tips.
You know what's coming now. Tara takes the crown. Hear the crowd get loud. No, maybe no doubt. She should sit down. Best in the room. Truth hits hard. Boom by boom. Finish lines, not finish times. Tara takes the crown. Yeah, she owns the ground.
Tara's tips.
So
my Tara,
tips.
What's your tip for the week?
Excellent. So it's a little bit of a wrap up of what we have talked about. As I was saying, don't be scared of Tokyo. Like we've all said it, don't be scared of Tokyo. It is so much fun. It is, you can explore, go on a bullet train, have some fun, go out to Fuji. We went to Lake Biwa. It doesn't hurt to explore. Even if it's places that don't speak English, it's fun. We went to a Raikin when we were there. They didn't speak English at all. It was in the middle of Japan in a tiny little spot, and they didn't speak English. We didn't speak Japanese, and we still had lots of fun. So have fun. We really enjoyed Team Labs, and we did that with Lucia. Highly recommend Team Labs if you can get yourself a spot in that. Book it now if you are planning on going to Tokyo. As we've all said, don't be scared of public transport. And we went to Disneyland and Disney Sea with Lucia as well, and it's fun. Be a kid, enjoy that experience, and make sure after your marathon as well that you celebrate what you've gone over there for, and celebrate the fact that you've just run 42.2 kilometers. Enjoy it. Find an after party somewhere and enjoy it with the local people, because it is so much fun and they know how to party. Find a karaoke bar. It is a lot of fun. It is so much fun just to go and immerse yourself with the locals. So, yeah, that's my tip.
Awesome tips there, Tara. I would just throw in also, when you do go to Shinjuku Station, make sure you remember which exit you leave from. It can be quite a frightening place if you don't remember. So, all right, Tara, we need to know your final tip. Your final thing for
trivia.
Tara's trivia. Yeah, let's. You can't keep stumping us. So what is it? What's the last little clue that you're going to give us?
My last clue. Now, everyone should get it on this one. Fingers crossed. So I was a former world record holder and a world champion in the marathon. I competed at the Olympics, and I am probably most remembered for winning the 1982 Commonwealth Games. One more part of that clue is every year at Gold Coast, I will do a speech to get the marathon runners up and running. Have we got the answer?
I hope I have.
You have? Excellent. Now, which part of that clue gave it to you? Was it the Commonwealth Games or was it the Gold Coast speech?
Oh, a bit of both.
Yeah. I think I picked it after the second clue.
You picked it after the second?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Peter, are you going to announce who it is?
Yes, it's my major crush, Robert D. Costella.
Yay!
Or for those, or known as Deke. So for everyone. So that's awesome. That was well done. Really good.
Funny story about Deke. Sorry, just a quick funny story. I was doing a half marathon in Port Macquarie a few years ago. It was a hot day, and as we know, sometimes I just go and have fun. My aim, because I'd heard that Deeks and Steve Monaghetti were going to be at that race weekend. So my objective was to get photos with both of them. I got Steve on the Saturday, Deeks, come race day, and I still haven't had the photo. I see him on course. So I stop mid-race, start chatting to him and have a photo. He says to me, shouldn't you keep going and running? Aren't you running the race? I'm like, yeah, that's all right, mate. Lovely guy, Deeks.
I think they all like Deeks, yep.
Yeah, everyone loves Deke. So, and of course, doing great work with the Indigenous Marathon Project. So, all right. So, thanks, Tara. Thanks, Lucia. This episode, of course, is about to end. But before we do that, Peter, I'm going to throw to you. Tell us what's happening next week.
Thank you, Tony. And I feel so honoured to say what's on next week. And Tim sent me a message during the episode. He's not available next week, so you might see me back again. Next week's show, we're talking all about back of the pack friendly races. We'll introduce a new metric called the BPI, which is back of the pack index, which rates races on how friendly they are to the back of the pack races. We'll talk about all the things we think organisers should be doing to improve inclusiveness for those at the back of the pack, and whether it's longer cut-off times, improved facilities, or encouraging better crowd support for the final finishes. We'll discuss it all. So as we keep saying, we're the only podcast with 4 7-star world major marathoners, and as usual, it will be another great episode, definitely not one to be missed.
Do we now actually say 5? We are the only podcast with 5 7-star world major marathons. Something to ponder. And Peter, of course, you are always welcome back any time. But thanks, Peter. That's it for this week's show. As usual, it has been a fun one, and it's brought back some really good memories. And I hope that people have taken value out of the tips that we have given around Tokyo. And if not, if you're not doing Tokyo this year, maybe we've inspired you to get out there and have a crack. So maybe in future years, you might want to listen back to this to get your tips for your Tokyo Marathon. We'd like to wish everyone, of course, running in Tokyo next weekend the very best of luck, and really work hard to make sure those deadlines are not part of your, those cutoffs are not part of your story, that you become someone who's conquered those cutoffs, and I'm sure you will be. So we love making this podcast for you. If you've got any tips around Tokyo or any that we've missed, please feel free to share. Contact us with a message on Instagram, Facebook, or email us at happyrunning@flyingrunner.com and tell us your thoughts. We just love getting feedback, and we really do try and share what we get on the podcast. You can watch this episode on Spotify and YouTube, listen in on Apple, Amazon, and all major platforms. Every step counts. Keep running, and we're going to see you next time on the Flying Runner Podcast. For those people that have only listening and have audio, we have that rogue host who decided not to show up tonight in the background trying to make us all laugh. And of course, I am the ever professional, and I've been able to get right through to the end. And now I'm going to say happy running.
Happy running.
Happy running.
Happy running.
Happy running, everyone.
Teach the flying runner, run far, run free. Host the 7 stars, inclusive as can be. It's the flying runner for you and me. He's the flying runner, run far, run free. Host the 7 stars, inclusive as can be. It's the flying runner for you